Hello and welcome to another week in film. Before I start talking about movies, I wanted to say thank you for the love and support on my last video. I'm glad you guys like hearing me get angry about a bad movie. Um, Another thing, you're probably like, this voice is not right. I am the special guest of today. I am Steph, and Dale is here too,
That's me,
unfortunately.
the normal guy.
Yeah, nobody wants him here, but I'm here to make up for it. And I guess we can jump right in to the first movie, which was Monday, August 5th. We watched Old.
Yeah, so I was the one who pushed us to watch Old. I wanted to watch a bit more of Shyamalan before Trap, and because that was and is my first Shyamalan movie, I haven't watched anything else from him, and frankly, I left underwhelmed but at an expected level. I think Old's main flaw is a lot of Shyamalan's movies' main flaws is that it feels very shallow and underbaked. It feels a little like barely too off, but off enough to notice.
I
Um,
like that feeling personally. I like how you don't have to have so much detail on the character's background. You don't have to know everything about them.
while that's okay, and I agree that it works pretty well for Old. I think that with the nature of the story that it is and how much it clearly wants you to care about these characters. At no point do I ever really care about a character past it being like oh, they had a funny line, or oh, they
Mhm.
had a cool character moment.
That's fair. I did watch this movie when it came out in theaters. My sister liked the trailer, so me and my dad were like, "Sure, we'll go see it," and everybody liked it pretty much. I don't remember much from it because it was 3 years ago now. But and rewatching it, I did fall asleep, which is a routine in my movie watching. Um, but at least I still kind of enjoyed it, even if I missed like the best parts.
um, yeah, Old's biggest problem, coincidentally, according to the plot twist of the movie, is time. I think Old uses its time incredibly inefficiently and leaves the viewer either bored or just completely uninterested for a majority of the view time. I think the concept of the beach is actually kind of underused. A lot of the characters just feel almost completely unaffected. Um, I'm thinking of the lady who has the seizures and the mother of, well, not the main mother, but the other mother lady. Yeah. Um, her fear about how she looks and her calcium deficiency or whatever. It just feels
Mhm.
like such a boring, lazy thing to do.
I liked it. It's like a dramatic, like you don't really care, but it's kind
it,
of funny how much she
it
cares about the way she looks.
it makes for a dramatic moment at the end when she's like a scary monster lady. But I,
True.
I I just think for a majority of the film, it's almost completely unimportant and pointless in the film.
That's fair, I guess.
Visually, I think the film looks really good.
The
I
location is
think
beautiful.
the location is used pretty well. It's a very nice looking beach, and it does still have its ominous moments, especially when it gets later,
Hmm.
and these characters you still don't care about are doing scarier things. Um, the actual concept of the movie, I think, is a little surface level, and like he came up with it on the couch or on the pot somewhere. He was just like, "Yo, beach that makes you older," and one of his the producer was like, "That sounds like a good idea, Shyamalan," and then they made the movie. I think it's a little basic, but for what it is, I think it's used relatively well.
It's definitely not his best movie, but I don't think it's his worst.
Yeah, I think for what I thought it would be, which was kind of an annoying. Well, I thought Shyamalan's entire thing was that he was annoying,
Mhm.
especially with the plot twist. And there is a plot twist in this movie. You can't really call it a plot twist. I think it's more of just a natural story development.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's done relatively well. It doesn't come out of nowhere exactly, and I think it accumulates at the end of the movie in a relatively satisfactory way. Sorry to use big words. I'm just a little nervous. Um,
Should we give our ratings?
yeah. So I gave Old a 6 out of 10.
And I gave Old a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely not the best movie we watched this week, but I mean it was better than Borderlands, which I did watch yesterday. Oh, and that's another thing. I am recording on a Sunday instead of a Friday. There was a very extreme moment in both of our personal lives on Friday, so we're recording a little later, but we're here.
Guys, we thought my cat was dead.
He crawled into the sewers and emerged victorious after slaying the Rat King.
That's okay, buddy.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, are you gonna read your book review?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
I don't really have much else to say about Old, do you?
No, I do not.
My review this week reads, Shyamalan's style isn't nearly as horrible or obnoxious as people constantly whine about it. Sure, the dialogue's disjointed and the performances and deliveries are stiff, but it almost acts as another layer of personality and directorial flair to the film. Cinematography ranged, but generally, if something crazy was happening with the camera, it was a good thing. And the score was pretty good too, even if at times it felt a little corny and cheesy. Where the film really stumbles is its emotional depth. You never really get invested, because most characters don't get enough important solo screen time. By the end, by the time they're gone, you barely started liking them. The film is still good, and the cast and effects were top notch, but was still a fumble. Yeah, I forgot to mention the makeup quality in Old is incredible, and the casting as well. It really feels like, especially with the kids, it feels like the progression and like appearance is pretty well done. It feels pretty logical.
How did you feel about the child acting in that movie?
I thought the child acting was horrendous, but the children are only in the movie for like 10 minutes, and then they're grown adults.
Yeah.
So the problem kind of fixes itself. There were a couple things I wish they picked up on again, though. I wish the rapper did more. He's just kind of on the beach, and then he gets killed by the guy with schizophrenia. Spoiler, I don't care. Came out in 2021, go watch it. And if you haven't, then who cares? Not that good anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I think the movie has a lot of good to it, but I mean, it's still underwhelming under-delivery on what the idea was supposed to be. So, I mean, 6 out of 10, it was a movie. It's a good movie.
Or 5 out of 10.
I think a 5 fits pretty well too, but I am steadfast in my
movie and I didn't.
I am steadfast in my beliefs. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sure.
So on the same day of August 5th, 2024, which is still a Monday, we both watched Ponyo. I watched it in theaters, and Steph watched it.
I watched it just in my room.
In their room with their what's the baby to you?
Now he was there for 5 minutes and he got kicked out of here.
Well,
my nephew was here for a little while.
Nephew, there you go. Just like the bear. Yeah, Ponyo is and was my first Studio Ghibli movie. I remember my parents ended up buying it for me, thinking it was a Disney movie, and then we never put it on until I was like 9, and I watched it and I was like, this movie rocks. And they were like, the animation is so weird, it looks nothing like a Disney movie. And I just remember probably my strongest memory about the movie was my dad used to come into our room when it was late and be like, turn the TV off, go to bed. And I remember letting him go back to his room and then turning my TV back on and watching it even more because I didn't finish with it yet. I'd never done that with a movie before because prior to that, I had watched The Lorax some odd 35 times. So Ponyo was not only a breath of fresh air, but a great intro to a completely different style of 2D animation, which prior to that I had essentially no knowledge of. Um, I
I
liked it.
watched I watched this movie in English this time. I'd seen it before with a friend in Japanese, but I did like the English version. It sounded good. I mean, I like them both equally, I think.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Studio Ghibli is that their dubbings, both Japanese and English, I'm sure their Puerto Rican dubbing is really good too, and their
Hmm.
French dubbing, I'm sure it's great. But their English and Japanese um, uh, actors are incredibly talented.
Hmm.
This movie holds, I want to say Liam Neeson as one of the characters.
And Betty
The
White.
and Betty White as one of the older ladies. They do a really good job at transferring what you imagine they'd sound like in English and
Yeah.
actually fulfilling it in the film to actually talk about the film now instead of rambling about past childhood memories and other such nonsense.
Hmm.
Ponyo is a very simple, especially in Studio Ghibli's library, or more specifically Hayao Miyazaki's library, compared to some of his other films like Princess Mononoke and oh I don't know, Boy and the Heron, and Castle in the Sky,
Ariete.
and Ari. That's not Hayao Miyazaki, but did try.
Sorry.
Um, um, this is a very low stakes and easy film to digest. It reminds me a lot actually of My Neighbor Totoro. Um, just a really really low stakes, but you really like the characters, and it's kind of a cutesy world. Um,
Hmm.
I guess that could be one of the flaws of Ponyo is that never once do you really feel like the moon is gonna crash into the Earth, like they say it is. But hey, I think it for what it does, being a cute little friendship romance story between two like second graders, I think it does it pretty well. I think it's really cute.
Hmm.
The animation is gorgeous. I think the underwater animation
Yeah.
is. I wish Hayao Miyazaki did more underwater, or he directed more underwater because it looks so beautifully stylized and so natural and flowing, and and you watch it and it really reminds you of how vast and gorgeous the ocean really is,
Hmm.
and how lucky we are to live in such a beautiful world.
We did both point out after watching how Ponyo doesn't really look like a goldfish.
Yeah, it's a weird Japanese thing. Maybe it isn't, and maybe they just want to say she looked like a goldfish, but she's like a
She's like
horrible
red with a
homunculus.
human face.
Yeah, she's like this hideous homunculus like abomination thing that is very scary to look at. If I saw that thing in my bucket, I would kill it with a hammer. Um, but Sosuke, that's the kid's name.
Hmm.
Uh, Sosuke is a better man than me. Um, I really don't have much else to say. The score was really gorgeous. The
Yeah.
opera and the voices and stuff was very impressive. I think it's one of Miyazaki's more unique scores. I think he does it really well.
I gave this movie a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it an 8. Lived up exactly to what I remember when I was, well, the same expectations that I had when I was a little baby when I watched it. Yeah, I just have my book review. Do you have anything else to say, dear?
Nope.
All right. In the book, I wrote, "So happy it lived up to those little baby expectations." Guys, I just said that. There's something so uniquely magical about Ponyo, whether it's the soft, almost watercolored animation or the sweet, lighthearted storyline. I can't say. I really want Hayao Miyazaki to do another film focusing on underwater fauna and life, because the scenes underwater stand out as some of the most majestic, gorgeous, and breathtaking moments of Miyazaki's career. The chair, too. The choir, too. Seriously, the most perfect. I don't think this is the guy's name. The composer, Joe. Hayashi or something like that. Seriously, the most perfect track made for a Ghibli movie. And saying all that, having a wider planetary scope for the story would have been great, but the film functions near perfectly as a safe, heartwarming romance. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. I already said that. Yeah, on to the next film.
The
A
next
little
film,
solo mention.
on the same day, Monday, August 5th, I rewatched for like the 10th time All the Boys I Loved Before. I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but I did give this movie on rewatch a 7. It's probably not that good realistically. This isn't one of my like more critical reviews, but I just love this movie. It's a classic movie. It's a great romance. You know, it's really cringy, but it's lovable. Yeah, I gave it a 7.
I haven't watched this movie, but I don't know. It's probably like a 1 out of 10. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, whatever. You don't know anything about that movie.
Yeah, well, I'm always right, so it's pretty standard at this point.
I showed you one scene and you loved it.
Um, that's for a different reason.
Okay, okay. Well, anyways, on
uh,
Tuesday, August 6th, the first movie was Split. I've seen this a while ago, but Dale,
good save.
Dale watched this on Tuesday for the first time.
Yeah, this was one of, and at least on Letterboxd anyway, this is Shyamalan's highest rated film. Split. I'd seen a lot. I remember being really scared of this movie when I was like 6. I thought a guy with whatever a dissociative something disorder, personality, something like that.
Yeah,
It's like DID.
Personality disorder.
Yeah, well, whatever it's called, I thought the idea was really scary. The main actor in this movie, whose name is James McAvoy, James McAvoy really crushes this role. He really absorbs the whole film. His ability to completely steal the show in every scene he's in, which is most of the movie. He's the star. Especially as the multiple personalities, is just like breathtaking. His ability to jump between emotions and characters is really impressive. It's hard not to really respect and love the way he acts in this movie. And that's not to say that the other actors in this movie were not impressive, because one of Anya Taylor-Joy's youngest performances ever. This is the youngest I've seen her in a movie. Her performance is pretty good too. And the therapist, whatever her name is, and the other two girls, they're all really great. But James McAvoy definitely stands out in this movie as being crazy acting talent.
From what
do you
I
think?
remember, it was so long ago. I was like not even conscious when I watched this movie. I liked it. It freaked me out a lot. It reminds me of 13 Cameras. I'm pretty sure that's the name.
Me when I
They
make
have,
up
like-
a movie.
They have nothing in common.
Me when I make up a movie.
Raven, why are you in here? Get
yeah.
out,
So,
Raven.
sorry guys. There's a huge eagle in their room right now. I don't know if they can record for the rest of this. Yeah. I mean, that's really what makes this movie stand out, is James McAvoy's performance, and jumping between different personalities and basically characters. I thought the writing was actually pretty good. This, in a way, this feels the least like an M. Night Shyamalan movie of his career. It feels really light on what I like to call his Shyamalanisms. A lot of the dialogue does sound weird, but it makes sense because it's a guy with like 18 different people in his head. You know, it makes sense. And the dialogue from the teenage girls is also a little weird, but it makes sense because you probably wouldn't be in the best mental state if you were kidnapped by a guy who cross-dressed and acted like a completely different person half the time. I thought they used the setting of the underground bunker thing pretty well. They actually managed to make it look quite unique and interesting for a majority of the film. The score also. Sorry, I'm taking over here. The score is used relatively well for most of it, and especially well whenever whatever his real name is, Kevin, I think his name is, whenever he's having a moment, whenever he's changing into someone else, I think it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Um, the movie does still hold that kind of uh, shallow surface level feel that Shyamalan movies tend to kind of have. Um, and ultimately, I didn't really care about the girls getting out of there alive. Their characters aren't written incredibly well. But for what it is, being a thriller, a mental thriller, I don't know what you'd call it. For being what it is, I think it looks and is very good. I'd say it's even great. What'd you give it, Steph?
Well, since I didn't properly watch it this week, I think I would give it like a 7 or an 8 from what I remember.
I gave it an 8 myself. This is a very different kind of Shyamalan movie, and I think that's why it did so well, because it feels so little like him. If there's one thing the general audience hates, it's personality. Why do you think Deadpool versus Wolverine did so well, guys? There's not a single creative mind behind that whole thing. To stop my hate a little early, I don't have anything else to say about Split. Do you, Steph?
Nope.
I am going to read my review from the book. I wrote, no matter what, no matter how you slice it, this is James McAvoy's movie. Every scene he's in, no matter what character he's playing, he absolutely steals the show. His performance is so varied and different that you start seeing them differently and looking for subtle character changes. Unfortunately, I think a lot of this greatness was only able to be accomplished because of the toned-down Shyamalanisms. Guys, I just said that. This film feels distinctly unlike him, and I think the less intense director style works for this film incredibly well. The look of the film does get a little stale, but the characters make up for it mostly. Also quite thrilling at times. I gave it an 8.
You totally missed out on a great pun at the beginning of that review, but not all of us can be comedic geniuses. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever. It's not like you're funny.
Say
a joke right now.
Your mom!
Wow, that was so
No,
funny.
you have to cut that. You have to cut that, dude.
I'm not cutting that. I'm not cutting
Guys, you didn't hear that.
Oh, you definitely heard it, guys. Remember,
Anyways.
Steph's funniest joke is a your mom joke.
Anyways.
On the same day, next, I watched... Also directed by M. Night Shyamalan. We both watched... Signs.
I did watch this later than you. I watched this on the 7th. So the day after, I watched it on Wednesday. But you watched it on Tuesday.
So tell me, Steph, what did you think of Signs?
I absolutely loved it. I didn't have too high of expectations. You know, this is the first Shyamalan movie I've seen in a while, besides the rewatch of Old.
Right.
For a while, I was really bored. But the last 30 minutes of the movie really made me love it, which, I mean, it's early, but I gave this movie an 8, which, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good rating.
What do you have to say?
I think this is perhaps one of Shyamalan's, probably one of his most impactful films, and I'd say one of his best. Now, I speak on the impactful side of things, a lot more disconnected. I didn't grow up with this movie, and from what I hear anyway, this movie scared a lot of very young children who probably shouldn't have been watching it, especially with the aliens. Again, from what I hear, I'm not too sure, on Twitter anyway. Signs is a little like Split. The Shyamalanisms feel a little toned down, but Joaquin Phoenix's straight up odd performance and like dialogue delivery kind of saves it from being too generic feeling. I think the way he handles the alien invasion story and the way it develops through the film is really natural, and it feels pretty pretty, I guess for lack of a better word, intended for what the movie was supposed to be. I think it's severely underutilized genre, because
Hmm.
it is a very scary idea. At points in this movie, other people are scared, and you totally understand why. Because if a potentially hostile force was invading the planet, you wouldn't exactly be watching football on the TV. Um, I think visually, the film is very distinct. I think the cornfield and farmhouse is used pretty well. It did lightly remind someone I know of Interstellar, which
You
I
got
conf-
so angry about that. I was gonna bring it up. I
yeah,
think
because it's not true.
it's the father daughter and like the um
Guilt,
not paranormal but the
supernatural.
supernatural aspect, and obviously they were on a farm just like Interstellar. You have to understand it's in my top four. I love Interstellar, so I'm gonna look for it everywhere. Um,
I guess.
this movie actually made me laugh quite a bit. I found it funny. I
Would you tell
did.
me what moments you thought were funny?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but I know the uncle was making me laugh quite a bit. Like it just giggles. It wasn't like full belly laughs, but he did make me
That is
giggle.
true. Joaquin Phoenix's really odd lines about like that's what the nerds want you to think.
Yeah, yeah.
That stuff is pretty funny, and it keeps the film from getting too serious, because that's why a film, because one movie I found myself drawing comparisons to was War of the Worlds, and Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, you've probably seen it. um you know, Steph hasn't, but whatever. I mainly because it was two alien invasions, and Joaquin Phoenix's character directly references it in the movie. I think the reason this movie, spoiler alert, guys, spoiler alert, I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. I thought this
No, you
was,
did not.
yes, I did. I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. I thought this movie was outstanding. I haven't watched an alien invasion movie and felt this, stressed and hyper focused on it in a while. Um, and the reason this movie works better than War of the Worlds, which is probably a more revered film, is because this movie keeps it lighthearted, but it's still intimidating and scary. At no point do the aliens feel like jokes in this movie, but not like in War of the Worlds, where it's like gritty alien war drama. Um, but I mean, I liked it. I a lot more than liked it. I loved it. Not Colin Farrell. Um, what's his name? He's in Mad Max. Um, well, the main guy in Signs. His
Mel
performance.
Gibson.
Mel Gibson. There you go. His guilty, grieving husband performance was really convincing and good. Um, and the kids, you do actually quite like them. The daughter has some weird little traits that are kind of funny, and the aliens too. Oh my god, what an alien design! So scary and just like
Hmm.
just horrifying looking. These lanky, big green guys. It's hard to make an alien look scary without making it look inhuman. But the way the film uses aliens and how little it actually shows you, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think it does it really well.
How do you
Um,
feel about the child acting? I know you're not a big fan of child actors. How was it
um,
in this one?
uh, so the girl was kind of bad, but I thought it was like heartwarmingly bad.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was kind of endearing and cute. And
Hmm.
the younger boy was he was actually good for his age. Now, would I nominate him for an Oscar? No, I wouldn't.
Of course not.
But his performance, his confused, growing kid role, he plays it really well.
Hmm.
I think actually for the most part, every character in this movie is played pretty well,
Yeah.
including the Shyamanisms. Oh, and the score is really good too, and the
I
cinematography is good.
I liked how at the beginning, like you said, the uncle was saying things like, "Oh, that's what the nerds want you to think," and then by the end, he's wearing like the tinfoil hat and everything. He's fully agreeing with the
He
kids.
he is a nerd by the end. I thought it was
Yeah.
a cute little character development. Before we get off this movie, I have to say, I thought the pacing of this movie, which is a weird thing to bring up,
Mm-hmm.
but the pacing of the movie is incredible.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like the alien invasion comes out of nowhere. It feels like it very gradually builds. There are literally signs in the movie with the crop circles and the there was some guy on top of our house and he jumped away from us. It makes sense. It feels
I
like
like
it's.
that scene where they're like trying to find the guy and he's just invisible. That was really cool to me.
Are you talking about the alien when they're surrounding the house?
Yeah, and he's just invisible.
He isn't invisible. He jumps up on top of the house.
No, they show him running past the swings and into the cornfield, and he's invisible.
No, he moved so quick that the swing was still swinging and the corn was. That was a good try though. That was a good try.
Whatever.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this is, and the craziest thing is that I gave this movie a 10, and it's not my favorite Shyamalan movie.
Well,
Before,
alright.
yeah, whatever.
It makes sense.
Before we get off,
Sorry.
before we get off this movie, I don't really have anything else to say. The pacing was really great. Do you have anything else to say, Seth?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm going to read my review. I wrote, quote, Man. Alien Invasion is a seriously underutilized genre of horror thrillers. Everything in this film built so perfectly, and the escalation feels paced so well. The whole cast felt perfect, and Gibson fits the grieving former priest role perfectly. Watching everyone deny it, dismiss it, and finally accept the idea of an alien invasion was amazing. And seeing each character's different reaction, the reaction to the life-defining news was outstanding. The score was used really well. The film is shot spectacularly. The Shyamalan-isms feel perfect for the movie. Better than War of the Worlds. That's another thing I forgot to mention. The faith and belief side of the film I think is handled pretty well. Seeing Mel Gibson completely not believe and then by the end of the movie go back to being a believer in miracles and a greater force, I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, to get off this movie, because I really want to talk about the next movie, on the same day, I watched Trap.
I watched this on Saturday. Dale watched this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This is like the best movie I've seen in so long. I watched it in theaters. It was a small theater. There's only 2 other people there, which I love. I just had a great time.
Yeah, so Steph went into Trap actually wanting to hate it.
No, I didn't want to hate it, but after the long leg situation, I was expecting to be disappointed again.
To be fair, I think the marketing skill when it comes to Trap was actually quite comparable to Longlegs. That second trailer for Trap is maybe one of the best I've ever seen. It is just so just blood rushingly awesome. You get so excited.
Hyped. Yeah.
You get it very excited for this movie. And man, what a movie Trap is. I don't think I'm even exaggerating when I say that this is maybe my second or third favorite movie of the year.
It's easily my first favorite movie of the year.
I think it's pretty much everything I wanted it to be. You can talk about it a bit if you'd like, Steph.
There's just so much to talk about. That last 30 minutes, I was sitting in the theater just smiling and giggling because it was just so good. There's nothing funny or smile-worthy happening, but the way it's written and the way the character acts and oh my gosh, the acting, it's just so good.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best things about the movie is I'm forgetting his name. I think it's James Manifold? I think that's his name. I didn't even write it.
Hartnett.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett, yeah. Josh Hartnett, at least to me, was a almost unknown actor. I haven't really seen him in anything. He was in Oppenheimer, but I don't remember his character in Oppenheimer.
I recognized him.
And watching this movie, I was like, you know what? This guy's playing a very complicated role. I just hope he does it fine. And Josh Hartnett absolutely knocked it out of the park in this movie. the Shyamalanisms and the way he talks and delivers his lines is just so off-putting and weird that it makes sense for a psychopath to kind of act like that. Um, Now, in saying that, you might have just been spoiled if you think like my mother, where she did not pick up on the fact that Josh Hartnett is the serial killer, the butcher that they're
They
trying to find.
reveal it in the trailer too.
They reveal it in the trailer, and it's like they reveal it 6 minutes into the movie about.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, if you didn't know, sorry, maybe get more
It's
media literate, guys.
it does not ruin the movie at all. It's still a great movie to watch.
No, yeah, exactly, because the whole movie is built on him squirming like a little rat trying to get away, and I
From the
think it's
trap.
from the trap, bazinga. Um, Visually, I thought the movie was outstanding. I can't really put my finger on what you'd call this feeling, but it feels very The Killer-esque with its. I don't know how to put it. Maybe it's the color grading. Maybe it's the way that it's filmed. Maybe it's the ending scene and the saturation. I have no idea what it is, but it feels like very modern filmmaking.
I
It
like the
reminds
angles, like through the doorways and whatnot.
it reminded me a lot of David Fincher, actually. But that core sense of Shyamalan principles and personality is definitely still there. The cinematography was absolutely outstanding. I thought Shyamalan's use of dual diopter shots was he very liberally used them, and I thought it was very awesome. I mean, I'd love to talk about it a bit more in depth, but I thought it was just cool. The whole movie is just cool. Do you have anything to say?
I did really like the setting, the concert setting. I've never seen anything like this. It was a very nice.
It
I
feels
didn't think
very
it was gonna
fresh.
work, okay, but
It
fresh.
feels very fresh. Oh, Bazinga.
You'll know
Yeah.
about that in a minute. I've never seen a movie that's like in a concert setting, and I think they did it really well.
The Eras Tour.
Okay, I didn't watch that.
um, I mean, the whole movie, about after I think the I guess you'd call it middle of the second act, everything starts falling apart in a good way, like
Mhm.
purposefully, like story wise, everything is falling apart for whatever his name is in the movie. Um, and watching it all fall apart for him is just so compelling. You see him, like I said, squirming like a little mouse trying to get out of a trap, and watching him do all these conniving little genius little moves is just crazy. I mean, I gave the movie a 9 out of 10. I don't let myself give movies that came out the same year. I don't allow myself to give them 10 out of 10s, but
Well,
if I
no, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
yeah, they gave it a 10 out of 10, and honestly, I'm right there with them. In spirit, I'm right there with them.
Yeah.
Um,
Pussy.
yeah, whatever. Um, and I don't have much else to say about Trap except please go watch it.
One final
because-
thing that I have to mention.
Absolutely.
And I'm shocked you didn't bring this up either. That credit scene. That
Oh,
is
it was
so
awesome.
good. I was not
Um,
expecting it. I was about to get up from my seat, and then I saw like the screen change. There's like 2 seconds of credits, and then it changes. But man, I'm so glad they included that. Please do not leave the theater early. You have to see that scene.
Absolutely. If you go to watch this movie, definitely stay until after the stylized credits are done, because it's a very lovely, silly way to close out the movie. I thought it was just very, very cool, very funny. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this movie. Just please go watch it in theaters.
Yes.
Give M. Night Shyamalan your money. Don't watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Watch Trap instead. This is a family movie. It's only PG-13. To close with my review. So otherworldly happy it lived up to my expectations. It feels like Shyamalan is firing at full force in this film. And sure, the dialogue may sound a little funny, and the story may have way more twists than necessary, but damn it, I loved it. I feel so liberated now that I understand and enjoy his style. And a couple fun new things show up in this movie. Loved all the camera work, especially the dual diopter shots, set design, color grading, all of it. Visually, it's a treat, and exactly what I'd like to see in a modern film. Harnett acts his heart out in this awkward, menacing role. Sorry guys, my handwriting's really messy. And every supporting actor and actress really matches. The score, both soundtrack and original, was brilliant and fits seamlessly with the film. Loved every second of it. And in saying all that, I thought M. Night Shyamalan's sister, or whoever, Lady Raven, I think her name is, her music for the film is actually pretty good. It's catchy.
Yeah.
It's not like annoying. This is like a concert I wouldn't go to, but if I was a dad and my daughter liked it, then I'd be like, sure. You know, if I was Josh Hartnett.
I was gonna say I would like to read my review on this one too.
Absolutely, go for it.
This is
More
the
the
only
merrier.
one I really wrote a review on.
Mhm.
I said, finally writing this almost 2 hours later because I was practically speechless. First things first, it looks great. The acting is great. The plot is great. The rest is pretty much going to be me talking about this last 30 minutes. I swear I was just grinning and giggling that whole time because I was having the time of my life. Even when things get a bit predictable, it's still enjoyable and satisfying to see everything play out. Josh Hartnett's grin is so good and adds so much to the film. Shyamalan's classic appearing in his own film was nice, and I really loved the credit scene. Me and my dad were giggling. I'm so glad they added that. Really feels like the best movie I've seen this year. Right up my alley.
Yeah, and one thing that I completely forgot to mention about both of our viewing experiences is that we enjoyed this movie so much we were literally shaking in our seats.
Oh yeah.
We were both geeking out, and I will admit my theater experience was probably a little biased in my enjoyment because I was sitting next to an older black lady and she was having the time of her life. She was like scream laughing at everything. I just thought it was so great. It felt like such a lively theater. I loved it. I love Trap again. 9 out of 10.
The movie's almost over and I heard a beer crack open. And there's only 200 people in the theater.
It's perfect, you know. Anyway, I think we're going to cut to the mid-break now. We've been rambling on for about 42 minutes. This is going to be a doozy of an episode, but if you guys are still with us, I appreciate your appreciation for our rambling craft. I hope you've enjoyed what we had to say, and yeah, enjoy the monkeys. Would you like to say anything, Steph? Steph says enjoy the mid-break.
Yeah.
See you soon. Hello and welcome back from the mid-break. This is being inserted in after because the recording software I used did not pick up Steph's intro back into the podcast, but we just did a little talk about a little Disney movie called Teen Beach Movie. They gave it an 8 and I gave it a 6. I'll probably keep my book review in, but they really liked it and grew up on it, and I just liked it. Anyway, yeah, enjoy the actual podcast now. I wrote, quote, a lot different than I thought it'd be. I was basically expecting High School Musical, and even though I haven't seen it, I probably know what it feels like. This movie was a lot more different and unique than I thought it'd be. Getting stuck in and ruining the plot of a movie you love is so interesting and cool. I sort of wish they did a bit more with the idea and played with it more, but for what it does well. The musical numbers, even though its partial parody, are pretty catchy and fit the film well. The performances were lovingly cheesy, and the look and feel were comfortingly low quality. In saying all that, the main story ends up being less interesting than the fake movies, and the characters somehow feel even more one-noted, but hey, it's a good time.
That feels like a fair review.
That is a completely unbiased review, and if you've seen this movie, you're probably going to sympathize with, your viewpoint a bit more. But, I mean, hey, I'm happy I liked it at all. I was kind of expecting
I'm happy you liked it too.
I was kind of expecting a mess, to be
I
frank. Oh,
remember.
go ahead.
I remember. When I was telling you to watch this movie, you're like, "No, that's not happening." But then you're like, "Oh, whatever, whatever," and you kind of brushed it off, and you're like, "Fine, I'll watch it."
I do remember that. I was very against this movie. I thought it would be schlock nonsense, like so many other movies you've tried to make me watch.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we talk about Bottoms for just like 10
Yeah. We
seconds
can
here?
talk about Bottoms, guys.
Okay,
What's wrong with this guy? No, I know what it is. There's nothing wrong with him, but he's a straight man. That is why he doesn't
yeah.
love Bottoms.
If your movie is relying on being a
Oh, what?
a per a person in the LGBTQIA plus community, then it's not a good film. As
Well,
someone who's
you're just
only
mad.
ever
No, you're just mad that you couldn't love it because it's not
I-
directed at you.
it's most movies I like are not directed at me. How do I relate to Chungking Express?
I don't know. That movie sucks.
Oh my god, we're not getting into this right now. Anyway, that was on August 7th. Or well, I watched it on the 10th and you watched it on the 7th, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
The next
So
movie
the next Yeah, go for it.
we watched the same day, Wednesday, August 7th.
Did we? I thought you watched it like 2 days before me.
Nope, you watched it on the 7th. I told you about it. Oh, okay. No, I watched this on the 6th, as well as Teen Beach Movie.
Yeah, there you go.
But you watched Fresh on the 7th.
Yeah, fresh. So how did you even find out about this movie?
I was going through Daisy Edgar Jones' like movie list on Letterboxd because I just love her, and I was seeing like how many movies I've actually seen of her, and I saw this one come up, and I was like, a lot of the people I follow watched it, and it's on my watch list somehow, even though I don't know what this is, and I mean,
It was on mine too.
it was just like, I'm gonna watch this. I had no reason. I just put it on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm so glad I did. This is the second best movie of the week.
Yeah, I actually so just a little background here. Half the movies that Steph has so kindly made me watch have been anywhere between mid to absolutely horrible.
He's being generous when he says half of the movies.
I think it's actually 90% of them.
Yeah.
We could talk about The Taking of Deborah Logan for an hour.
To be fair, I watched that when I was like 10.
We could talk about I know there's another
Yeah, you
bad
got this.
one.
Come on.
We could talk about Bottoms for a whole hour.
You're just wrong about that one.
I'm definitely not.
And
I know there's
that one.
Oh, and
I told you it was
French
gonna be
movie.
bad. Yeah, but it's my birthday. You had to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I'm missing out on one more really bad one. But for the most part, your recommendations have not been as solid as I would like them to be.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So I went into Fresh kind of haphazard. And in saying that, in saying what I'm about to say, I was afraid because it was focused on the female experience so much, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Some of my favorite movies are directed by women. Now, don't ask for an example. I just know I like movies directed by women.
Right,
Okay, I just know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a little afraid because I thought this would be a radical feminist, kill all men kind of thing.
I think you're expecting something like the X trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
In a way. Not like the horror aspect, but the...
I was kind of expecting like Pearl.
Yeah.
Or maybe Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure, yeah. But
so
this one, it's definitely following women and their experiences in dating, but at the same time, like it's enjoyable for men because how insane the main character is. It's just so fun to watch.
So, bring up the excellent opening act. Go ahead and bring that up. Yeah, like the first 30 minutes of the movie. Do you want to talk about how good they are at almost tricking the audience? Now, I don't know about you. Okay, so this is kind of a spoiler for this
I don't
movie.
really know what you're
If you
talking about here.
okay, let me go into detail here. If you put on Fresh, you probably saw the poster or at least read the description of the movie given by whatever streaming service you're using.
Hmm.
But it reads very vaguely. It's like a woman finds the true horrors of dating or something like that.
Yeah.
It reads very vaguely, and it could really mean anything. I thought it'd be a stalking story. Well, I didn't because of the poster,
Mhm.
but if I didn't see the poster, that's kind of what I think. This movie, in the first like 25 or 30 minutes even, does a lot to convince the audience that it's going to be a romance movie.
You
Like,
thought so? I didn't get
I
that.
thought it was weird and sort of off-putting, but like the way like the music plays and the way they're like laughing together and having a
Sure.
good time, it does sort of trick you where you're like, oh well, maybe it'll be okay.
Mm.
Maybe someone else kidnaps her instead of this
Oh, okay,
guy.
I thought you were talking about the first love interest, who's like, "You're a bitch," and then leaves.
No, no,
He's in like the
I thought
first
that was
10 minutes.
awesome.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna
I
laugh
thought
about that.
it's literally me. Um, yeah. So I mean, what you like this movie more than me?
Yeah, I did.
Uh, what stuck out in this movie to you?
I think I just love Daisy Edgar Jones, and it was just I love women, okay? I love women. If you're a woman, maybe slide into my door. No, that's not true. I have a boyfriend, my lovely Dale. My lovely Dale, yeah.
My
Um,
lovely Dale.
um, I don't know. I think I just like when women get revenge and do
It is
something really evil that,
it is an interesting genre.
yeah,
It's done particularly well in this movie.
that scene, I made Dale record himself to see his reaction to a scene because I knew he was gonna kind of
Uh,
freak out
it,
about it.
if you guys have seen Fresh, it's kind of the turning point of the movie for
Yeah,
the
it's right
captives,
before everything happens.
right before the ending. Yeah. So I mean, to talk about the movie a bit more technically, unless you have
Mm.
something to say,
Nope,
Steph.
you're good.
No. To talk about it a bit more technically, I think the cinematography in this movie is really great.
Uh-huh.
They have they use this like mansion slash dungeon set really well.
Mhm.
It looks a little fake, like the dungeon mainly, with the
Absolutely,
rock
yeah. It's
with
way
the
too
rock
big.
walls and the yeah. It feels a little like it's under a different house almost.
Mhm.
But but for what that is, I mean, it's easy to look past it and just see
Mhm.
the creative talent that put together the set down there, and there are a lot of cool little details like that the painted wall in the main girl's room,
Mhm.
the ocean. I thought little
Yeah.
things like that were really cool. The bed being in the ground and the sliding closed like vault doors. I thought it felt very like it felt very
Fresh.
fresh. It just felt a lot like it felt new, I guess. It
Mm.
felt very different from what you'd expect from like a hostage cannibal movie.
Mhm.
The score was really good as well, and I mean there's a lot to like about this movie, but ultimately it comes down to the writing and the characters. The characters in this movie especially are really sympathetic. And for some reason it was just so easy to I mean, well, I say for some reason like she isn't literally a hostage. You rally behind the main girl uh really quickly. um she's very likable.
Mhm.
And her best friend is also very likable.
Mhm.
um the other hostage girl is really likable. It's not hard to find yourself rooting for this girl in an already bad situation, which sounds easy, but a lot of because I guess you'd classify this as a horror movie.
It's like
Kinda
a thriller.
horror thriller.
Sure.
Or maybe even just
That's
thriller.
exactly what the genres say, actually, horror thriller.
Yeah, so it sounds like a very easy thing to say. It's like, oh, this makes you care about the victims, but a lot of movies just don't make you care.
Mhm.
Um, Going back to it, this might be a contradiction of what I said, but like Split, I never really cared about any of the girls in that movie.
Mm.
Obviously I wanted them to get out because, they're the good guys. But I never felt like and not even a personal attachment, but I never really liked them for them. I liked them because they were in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy Edgar Jones's character is just really great in this.
Noah,
Is
yeah.
what I'm is basically what I'm trying to say. And the way the main guy, whatever his name is,
Steve.
the way what's the actor's name?
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, him. The way he acts in this movie, and the way he's written to act, with the dancing and the loud music and
Mm-hmm.
the cooking, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of go ahead.
No, you go.
Just a lot of little likable moments and things in this movie, you know.
I usually find myself rooting for the bad guy in horror movies, but this one I was totally on Noah's side, and Molly and Penny. Um, it was a nice change to be rooting for someone to escape rather than someone to kill everyone.
For the good guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might just be a sicko. I don't think I've done that for a single horror movie.
No. Like Saw?
What horror? You want them to die? Unless they're like really evil, I don't want
The
them
whole
to die.
point of Saw is to like watch people get tortured, so you want it to happen
Okay,
more.
but some of them are just like, I'm a smoking addict.
What about Scream? That's the easiest one. You're rooting for the killer.
I haven't seen a single Scream.
Well, the first Scream movie at least, because they're hot.
I wasn't rooting for the killer.
But they're hot.
The killers?
Yes, they're hot.
That's Shaggy from Scooby Doo and some other guy.
Yeah.
They're not hot.
Yes, they are. Ask anybody. They're hot.
You're a sicko. You're a sicko.
No, I just hot
Yeah,
men
you are.
killing people. There's something about it. I don't know.
You want to be killed by a hot man.
No,
you want to be killed by a hot man.
I'd like to live. Please don't kill me, Dale. You're a hot man,
Yeah,
but
whatever.
please don't kill me.
Yeah, whatever. To end the fresh portion of the video, I will read my book review. Sorta lost for words. Thought the little romance plot twist about 30 minutes in was really neat, and does a great job at showing how talented the writers are. The same level of confidence and talent continues to be shown throughout the duration of the film. It feels effortlessly off-putting watching this killer cannibal dance while packing up literally human meat certainly leaves the viewer with a lot to think about. I also love how ambiguous the film feels, never stopping the story to explain much of anything. Visually, the mansion and dungeon are used very well, looking great and memorable, while also seeming like a labyrinth. Actresses and actors were incredible and deliver the story perfectly. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10.
And I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's one thing
realistically, it's more like a 9. After seeing Trap, it makes it more like a 9.
One thing I forgot to bring up. One thing I can't stand is when stories close like really like I guess safely.
Yeah.
Is the word.
Yeah.
I like that Fresh closes as soon as all of the bad guys are just killed. It closes with the girls hugging. And I thought that was perfect for
it felt like a complete story.
I thought it was perfect for the kind of story that was being told, you know? Yeah, that's all I have to say on Fresh. I know you liked it a lot. Do you want to say anything else?
Nope. Everything is covered.
Everything is covered. Anyhow, on to the next movie. On
Thursday.
August 8th.
You're behind, buddy.
Yeah, whatever. Go ahead then.
I watched Wizard of Oz. Dale watched
The original.
this on Saturday the 10th.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I don't know how to start this. It's just a classic.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's a good way to start it, actually. The word classic, I think, is thrown around really loosely. It's easy to call any older movie a classic, you know? But this movie is like
it's
Urban
truly
Dictionary.
a classic.
yeah, this is like not even urban. This is Webster Dictionary example of classic. This is it was the first film in color. It
I didn't know that.
was yeah, it was 1940 some. Um, and I mean it's a
39.
39.
1939.
Yeah, there you go. It's an old as ever story, and it rings just as true, and it tells those important morals, and it's all you could really want in a children's Hollywood movie.
But in a way, it's also not only for children.
No, absolutely.
There's definitely like hidden
That's
parts that only adults will understand.
yeah, like the asbestos rain and
Mhm.
the hanging munchkin in the forest, and
Yeah.
you don't even know what I'm
Yes,
talking
I
about.
do.
Explain what both of those things
The
are right
hanging
now.
luncheon, someone like killed themselves while they were filming.
Okay, close enough.
What do you mean close enough?
Okay. So the Hanging Munchkin was in the original like VHS
Hmm.
of The Wizard of Oz when they meet the lion and they're skipping or whatever.
Sure.
There's a little thing you can see way off on one of the trees that's
Yeah.
about yay tall that looks like a munchkin who hung themselves on set.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, it was completely not true. It was like an edited in thing.
I didn't know about that
How did you think the Hanging Munchkin was real?
because I only heard about it like twice. I don't know much about
Okay.
it.
Well, that's okay. And then do you know what the asbestos rain was?
No.
So, do you remember the scene where Dorothy falls asleep and then the good witch makes it snow
Yeah, I do.
to wake her up? So
Mhm.
that snow that they used was asbestos?
What is?
Do you know what asbestos is?
No, I don't.
Oh my god. Um for any viewer who doesn't know either, asbestos is a highly toxic um chemical material. It's used. It originally was used in a lot of filtration systems until people realized it would like explode your lungs
Oh.
if you breathed in enough. So I mean, that asbestos snow that they used in the movie probably took like years off of everyone's lifespan.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, I completely forgot where I was.
That's okay.
Um,
I
yeah.
remember watching this. I mean, when I was like 7, I went into my grandparents' room, and it was on their TV. It was just through cable, and I was like, "This movie's really awesome." I was there for like 10 minutes max, and I just really liked it. It was when the whole cast is together and they're kind of just talking. I thought it looked really cool. And that following Halloween, I actually dressed up as Dorothy. I personally
Classic.
think I killed it because I had the long brown hair and braided it. The only thing that was
That's a
missing
classic.
missing was the shoes. I had like pink Nike SBs.
Not even a real cosplayer. So
Oh,
embarrassing.
okay. I was 7.
Yeah, still embarrassing.
Uh,
So I mean, what stuck out to you in The Wizard of Oz in this modern viewing?
Honestly, nothing. I did give this an 8. I had it at a 7 originally, but I did increase it.
Bump it up.
I didn't pay enough attention watching it. I was on my phone like most of the time.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
but I mean, I was singing along. I somehow knew all of the music, and I was just kind of like dancing while I was sitting in my bed. It was just a good time.
Y- I think The Wizard of Oz is one of those things where you just kind of know the music,
Hmm.
no matter what. Like everyone knows the. I'm not gonna sing it,
You're gonna sing it.
but the. No, I'm not. The we're off to see the wizard. You know, everyone knows that. Everyone knows the
Yellow Brick Road.
That's not a song
Yes,
in
it
the movie.
is. When they're
That's
like
a John
sending,
Lennon song.
well, it's still no.
Yeah, it
When
is.
they're like sending her off and they're like, you have to take the Yellow Brick Road, and they're singing and like dancing her to it.
Could you give us an example?
No.
Oh my god. Yeah, you know, you just kind of know the music in this. You know, Over the Rainbow. That's a
Mm,
classic.
of course.
You know, you just kind of know the music in The Wizard of Oz. What's the one the Munchkins sing? Oh, The Witch is Dead. There it
Right,
is.
right, right. You heard
Like
that one
I've
before?
known that. I've known that one forever.
Okay. Sure.
I don't know how. I just like knew exactly what it sounded like, you
Mhm.
know. But I mean, The Wizard of Oz. It's hard to talk about because it's such a classic and a impactful film on, well, literally everything after it.
Mhm.
The Wizard of Oz, you could still see where its effects are in modern cinema to this day. You know, I mean, I know The Wizard of Oz didn't invent the three-act structure, but the main characters with multiple different goals and
Mhm.
the reveal at the end. You know, I know a lot of these things probably aren't Wizard of Oz original, but it definitely proliferated them and made them more well known.
Mhm.
I just really can't talk about this film much more. It's just one of those movies that you have to experience.
Yeah.
It's easy to think, because I thought this too. I was like, oh, I'm never gonna watch that movie. I already know what it's about, and I just don't want to watch
I
it.
was the same way, but I was going through my letterbox list and I saw it on there. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put this on for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those films that you don't realize how impactful and how great it is until you watched it.
Mhm.
This movie made me tear up multiple times.
Really?
Yeah,
What parts?
I don't remember, but I just know it did.
Mhm.
I mean, I gave this movie a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Not really. I
Well,
thought The Wizard of Oz. Go ahead.
I gave it an 8.
So what?
I think that's a more accurate rating. It's not a 10.
Um, yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, sure. To
Whatever.
each their own.
You just hate the
Over.
Midwest.
Yeah, kinda. I don't really
Oh
care
my
for it.
God. Yeah, you do not want to go to Kansas. You can just say it.
I mean, I have a few reasons why I shouldn't go to Kansas.
Well, anyway, let me end The Wizard of Oz talk
Mhm.
with my written review. Mentally, there was a lot riding on this movie for me. Not only being a classic, but also being the first film in color and a personal favorite of my parents. And simply put, the film wowed me. It feels like everything I talk about a film older older than the 60s. It feels like every time I talk about a film older than the 60s, I bring up Hollywood magic. But I feel there's no better descriptor in this case. The film oozes with creativity and passion, with so many funny, unique little ideas. The characters are lovely, and it's hard not to quickly get personally attached to them and their goals. The visuals too, just gobsmacking. Technicolor was such a vibrant, beautiful way to color film, and every time I see it, it's stunning. A classic deserving of the title. Sorry guys, my handwriting's really bad. I mean, yeah, the film color-wise is gorgeous. It was the first film in color, and it definitely uses that to its advantage.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have nothing more to say. 10 out of 10. Great movie. Excellent movie. Fantastic. Gorgeous.
For the next day, Friday, August 9th, our only notes are cat died, no movies. My cat did
Yeah,
not
so
die. He is currently right next to me. I found him. He was just playing a little trick on me and decided to run away.
yeah, if you can trust one thing, trust.
Oh, he
What's your
bit
cat's
me!
name again?
How could you forget that? Rocco, he hates you.
Yeah, Rocco. There you go. Um, excuse me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you can trust Rocco for one thing, you can trust that he will almost die to stop me from watching movies and recording this earlier. Anyway,
Well then,
yesterday,
yeah, Saturday,
yeah,
August 10th, you
Saturday,
watched
August 10th,
Borderlands.
I watched Borderlands, and Steph, for their own sake, did not.
I could not be
Um,
bothered to watch that.
there are not enough words in the English dictionary to talk about how otherworldly, god-awful Borderlands the movie was. Now, I already do not have a personal attachment to Borderlands. You know, I played the third game a lot. I played the second game a little. I haven't touched the first game. I played the pre-sequel a lot. So I went into this kind of expecting nothing.
Hmm.
I was expecting at least a 4 because of Deadpool and Wolverine. I was expecting a similar level of confidence and just shit. And to say it lightly, Borderlands somehow surpassed my already low expectations and surpassed it all the way into a garbage disposal where it died, got eaten by a bird, and shit onto a car window. Borderlands, without a doubt, is the worst movie I've ever seen. I gave it a 1 out of 10.
Okay, worse than
Um,
Rebel Moon?
yes.
That's shocking. I remember seeing this trailer before Longlegs, and my dad leaned over and he's like, "That was shit," and I
Yeah.
just kind of giggled.
The main problem with Borderlands is that it bastardizes the already bad source material. Not that you can do it justice because it's already so bad, but I mean, what can you do? I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. It was horrible. It was dog shit. Everyone's too old. Jack Black Claptrap is annoying. And my review simply reads, I knew it'd be bad, but this isn't even funny bad. Even some of the worst movies I've seen, like Madam Web and Deadpool 2, have some redeeming factors or even some genuinely good moments. But for the first time ever, Borderlands doesn't even have a single moment. Not a single funny joke, exhilarating action scene, or even interesting story beat. It manages to be both boring and yet endlessly fascinating. Why would a studio, director, or actor, let alone any crew member, ever put their names on a product this abysmally low quality? Why adapt Borderlands of all games and do it live action no less? It's a shame the film doesn't capture even 0.0001% of this intrigue. 1 out of 10. Just like
You
so.
you forgot to mention the theater experience. You were
Oh,
shoulder to shoulder.
yeah, right. So I like to try and sit in or as close to the center of the theater as I can. So some guy was already sitting in the center of the theater, so I just bought 2 seats away from him just to give him space. Still pretty close. So I get there. Actually, I the tickets right in front of me. I was sitting in J16, right, pretty close to the center.
Hmm.
And I look at where my seat should be, and I go, "Huh, that guy's a little close, isn't he?" So I walk over and I realize I'm sitting right next to this guy. Now I don't want to be mean, but this guy stunk. Um, yeah, you have something to say?
No, I just wasn't expecting you to say that.
Well, this guy absolutely stunk. I could tell he was marathoning the Borderlands games prior to this. And to say that he was the expected and general audience would be an understatement. This guy was laughing at every single time Claptrap said a funny swear word. He had a bunch of fucking food from the from concession stand. It was horrible. This is exactly the kind of moron that you want watching your movie, especially if you're a greedy executive, and that's exactly why Wolverine and Deadpool is doing so incredibly well. Borderlands is a mockery of what the idea of cinema is. Um, to think that we went from a guy riding a horse to Borderlands in film makes me cry. Again, 1 out of 10. Do not watch this movie.
And for our final movie, which we watched together on Saturday, August 10th, we watched
Mhm.
Phantom Thread.
Directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and starring Daniel Day-Lewis and what's the chick's name? Take your time.
It'll load.
Take your time. She was also an old
Vicky Krebs.
Vicky Krebs. So, Phantom Thread is one of my personal favorite films. I look back on it and think of the gorgeous cinematography, and the absolutely outstanding music from Johnny Greenwood, and the brilliant performance from Daniel Day-Lewis, and I can't help but smile when I think of any moment in this movie. Simply put, it's one of the best Paul Thomas Anderson and Daniel Day-Lewis ever put their names on.
Now, guys,
Um,
don't listen to this
Go
guy.
ahead.
This movie was not good. He
Okay, I
has
need you
been.
to explain why it wasn't good.
You have been talking about this movie since we started talking. So, like,
Yeah,
6 months. Almost 8
about.
months. It just. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. I was expecting a great movie. I thought she was gonna kill him, or like, okay,
You
honestly,
have Reddit brain. Reddit Chungus brain.
guys, I'm leaving the video
Where's the violence? Why does no one die?
because you hyped it up like it was gonna be like that. Anyways,
No, I didn't.
the
Anyway, why?
title, Phantom Thread, it never comes into play, but
Yes, it does.
okay.
He's a seamster. It's like thread. You sew with thread.
Yes, I know, but there's never like Phantom Thread. What does that mean?
Are you dumb? The
Yes.
Phantom is the ghost of his mom, who got him into sewing.
Anyways,
Okay. Go.
the title. This whole time I was kind of joking, like, yeah, I would sew his dick shut too, because I thought that was gonna happen.
Why would he do that?
You played this out like it was horrible, evil woman, and that I was gonna do this to you. So I was like, oh, it has to be something really bad.
You would do that to me, though.
Do what? She doesn't do anything.
She poisons him.
And then he's okay with it, and he lives.
Yeah, to rekindle their relationship.
What relationship? They don't have a good relationship at all. This is a horrible movie. It's not a romance, which you agree with. But like, it's nothing. This is not even like it's not a movie. This is just like something to watch. It's just pictures put together.
That's insulting to say.
Okay, whatever. Well, I mean, clearly I hate this movie and I gave it a 4. I was questioning the 3,
Abysmal.
but the score
Abysmal.
and the way it looks, it's great in those aspects, but everything else sucks. The story sucks. You know, the set is really nice. Costume design is nice. It's fun. Someone
He
is a seamstress?
a tailor.
A tailor, sure. Well, no, he makes the dresses. Tailors kind of adjust them.
He's a seamster.
A seamster, correct.
I don't think that's the title, but
yeah, whatever. As someone who does like to sew, it's pretty fun to watch.
Okay, so everything Steph just said was wrong. This movie,
Guys, there's never
simply,
gonna be another Ponyo video again after this. He's gonna be dead. I don't mean that.
Yeah,
I don't mean that.
They're gonna sew my dick shut. That's what's gonna happen. Anyway,
Yep, anyway.
as I was saying, just seconds ago, this movie is about two people who are not willing to give up their power in the relationship, and about manipulation. And while the story may be basic, it's not flawed. And the movie is ultimately carried on its soundtrack, which is incredible.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard any other music from Johnny Greenwood, but I can confidently say this is his best score ever. What was I saying? Yeah.
Johnny
I think visually, yeah, whatever. Visually, the film is almost unbelievably gorgeous. I'm forgetting the cinematographer's name right now, but Paul Thomas Anderson is just so capable and so talented at having the brain to produce such a gorgeous looking movie, and the way that Vicky Vance or whatever her name is delivers dialogue, and the way that Paul Thomas Anderson's character acts, it's just
Daniel Day-Lewis's character.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis's character acts. It's a movie that has to be experienced. And to put it simply, Steph didn't experience this movie.
I sure did, and it was not a good experience.
It was the best experience of your life.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, go watch Phantom Thread with your girlfriend. I'm sure they will be huge fans of it. Or with your boyfriend. I know your boyfriend will like it.
Or your partner.
Yeah, sure. Watch it with whoever will watch it with you. Especially like if your parents hate each other, you should watch it with them. I think it would make for interesting dinner talk after. Or maybe breakfast talk after,
dinner talk,
depending on when you watch it.
I don't know if your dad's gonna want to eat the food if it's dinner talk after watching this movie.
Bazinga, mushroom and egg omelet. Sounds delicious.
I'll make you one, don't worry.
Yeah, you're gonna poison me and kill me. You're gonna put too many mushrooms, you're gonna kill me. I'll read my review, and if you wouldn't mind, Steph, could you just start talking about how much you hate this movie for a couple seconds? I need to grab something.
Well, I mean, it just sucks.
Take
It
over. You
sucks.
should read your review on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I was about to pull that up. Um, 1 second, guys. Okay, this is not a lengthy review, but it's good size for what I normally put. I said I wanted to like this due to my boyfriend's hyping up of it. However, I just didn't. I loved the visuals and the soundtrack. I didn't like everything else. It felt so stupid. Nothing happens. You hear an annoying little bitch baby boy whine and complain, and his girlfriend just stays with him. I guess in a way it's a beautiful showing of how you can love someone even if they don't appear lovable on the surface. And I hope to rewatch this one day and adore it.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that yeah, so you probably heard me already, but I need to get closer to the mic. I forgot to mention that this was a rewatch. This is
Yeah.
the second time I've seen this film. So I wanted to read, if you don't mind, I wanted to read both my original and new review for the film.
That is a
My
great idea.
My original review is a lot shorter and probably a lot more accurate to what I thought. I wrote, quote, "What an excellent film. To be entirely fair, the constant, beautiful score does sort of carry the film, but that by no means that the movie around the score wasn't excellent. The acting, especially Daniel Day-Lewis's, is great, if subtle. The cinematography blew me away. Such beautiful, stunning shots peppered throughout the film, and the scenery complements it perfectly. The relationship between Alma and Reynolds was super messy, but that original love prevails. A marvelous film on fashion and love."
And before you read that next review, can we just talk about how horrible of a first name Reynolds is?
Reynolds is a good first name.
No, it's absolutely not. Alma is a really cool, pretty name. I would name my kid Alma. But Reynolds?
If you had an autistic son who was going to become a seamster, you'd probably name him Reynolds too, no?
I named him Timothy.
Oh,
Anyways,
worst
so your
thing you've
next
said all podcast.
I think I've done worse.
Yeah, anyway, and my second review for this movie, held up damn strong on rewatch. There's something so engrossing and mesmerizing about the horrible relationship that Alma and Reynolds find themselves in. Seeing that desperate struggle for power, while noticing the total reliance and dependency on one another, is horrifying. Everything visually and audibly about this film is undeniably top-notch. Even through the time jumps, the movie feels like one smooth, consistent story, and it's a massive feat. The writing feels so detailed and almost scarily lifelike, and watching this once great career man fall to a woman he can't help but love is so special. Struggling to write more because it really is a movie that needs to be experienced. Paul Thomas Anderson and Daniel Day-Lewis, mastercraft.
And by experiencing this movie, just don't.
I mean, watching it. No, you should watch this movie. Watch it with your girlfriend, and if they're really quiet the whole time and paying a lot of attention, don't eat anything they cook for you.
I was paying attention.
Yeah, but you would talk every 10 minutes.
I guess. Well, guys, that's
I mean,
that's all
that's all the movies we have for today. If you stuck through this all, I applaud you. I know this is a much messier version of what I normally do. I just figured it would help to have a secondary and equally as important and impactful voice in these things. I had a lot of fun with this, even if it took a whole days of time to do. It was just a good time. I enjoyed myself.
I did as well.
There you go. It only took a little. Yeah, I recommend every movie we talked about except for Borderlands. And otherwise, I mean, you can kind of tell I'm stretching right now, but I don't care. This is a messy video. It's a new video. It's a whole new experience, guys. And if you're still with us, you are the guy who matters, or girl,
You
or
are all
person.
that in a bag of chips.
Yeah, sure.
Why did I say that?
I don't know. You like being annoying. Anyway.
Guys, do you hear that? Ah.
Thank you for watching. I need to go so that Steph can chew me out off video.
I don't have anything to
Um,
chew you out about. Don't worry.
I had a wonderful time with you, and I hope you want to do this with me again.
Absolutely.
And again, for a 5th time now, I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely subscribe if you want more content like this, and leave a comment, do literally anything to show me how much you liked or disliked this video. I know it's a lot longer than normal, but hey, it was the first one, and we were just a little disorganized. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and
I will see you in the theaters.
bye!
I was gonna do a countdown and then we could say bye together.
You took too long to do the countdown.
Too long.
Please subscribe, please!
Please.
Yeah, whatever. Bye, guys. See ya!
Bye, bye.